Yeah, I mean, felt like we had to have that one. Struggled on the road. Switched up a few things in our preparation. Just trying to keep it light. And I thought our guys responded. For us to not be able to, make a shot the last two games, and defensively to be able to, have two of our better performances against two pretty good offensive teams, is important, and it's something that we really needed because we needed to have some confidence to show that we could win a game. With not shooting the ball very well. We've made 4 threes in the last two games, and we're able to win, the last two. So I thought, defensively, our guys did a really good job in the first half of communicating our switching and keeping a body on a body and forcing them into tough contested shots. They're really good at making those types of shots, but for Malik Dia to only go 1 for 3 in 13 minutes. Cameron 3 for 11, and then Storr 6 for 19. Was really important. They had some real step up from Pinkins and from Perry, and we left those guys passing lanes too many times. But that's an important win. Not a lot of teams are going to come in here and get that win. They had a tremendous crowd tonight. The student section was amped up, and our guys did a good job of responding, and didn't panic when it got down to 3. And we had some real step up from a number of guys on the roster. So happy for the guys. We needed that one. Felt like the last two were must wins, and our guys played desperate defensively, and we were able to get the win. So take any questions.
Thank you. Coach, what went behind the decision to insert Elijah back into the starting lineup tonight over KO?
Yeah, we just had another guy late to something. So really nothing more than that. We just – have you guys seen, what is it, The Simpsons, like Day Without – what is it? Day Without, like, something. Yeah, since the last incident. Like, we we're it's a running joke, which we got to fix, but, like, we've had days without distractions, and, like, we're at 1 right now. So we had a good day today. Let's see if we can have 2 tomorrow. So, that's all it was. KO was just, late to breakfast. And, the guys know that, when that happened. And KO called me around. I was like, listen, like, totally, like, understand, like, whatever you got to do. Like, I'm here. If I need to come off the bench, I'm going to come off the bench. And I thought KO was what I'm proud of KO for. He went 0 for 5 tonight. He had 4 great looks. And he was +7 in the plus-minus and continued to guard. So, like, some people could get rattled by that, right? Not making shots, not starting. He continued to defend, was really coachable tonight, and those are all things that, when he does those things, we're a better basketball team. So that was really all it was.
What's been the key for you guys to have defense in back-to-back games like this, especially bringing it on the road? I know that was a big emphasis for y'all heading into this one.
We talked about this morning, like, the word I used was just trust. So we got to trust one another. And, defensively, when you're guarding the ball and you trust that there's 2 guys on either side of you in the gap, you're going to play better one-on-one defense because you know that guy's not playing you one-on-one. He's playing you 1-on-5. So our guys, I think, have more trust that there is going to be somebody loaded to the left and to the right of them in those gaps to not allow guys to just drive it downhill like they did on us against Georgia. So we've done a better job of just with our gap defense. We've done a better job with our closeouts, our one-on-one stances. We're just doing a better job guarding the ball. And, I think our guys now have some confidence in that. And it's really shown, really since the Georgia game. I thought we guarded pretty well against A&M. They just converted 17 points on 5 turnovers. We guarded pretty well against Missouri for the most part. They made 7 threes in the first half. Sometimes it's going to happen. But I thought our guys did a good job of just sitting down, guarding. We limited them to 8 offensive rebounds, off of, almost 40 misses. So our guys are doing a better job of sitting down in the stance. We're in gaps, and we're doing a better job of finishing possessions with a rebound.
It's a Tahad, it's tough shooting here for him recently, but at the end of the game, you get the ball in his hands, and he's controlling it and hitting some of the biggest shots of the game. Just what does that say about him and kind of the faith that y'all continue to have in him?
Yeah, he was a floor general tonight in the truest sense. Like, he managed the game really, really well at a high level. He makes his first 3, and it was probably his toughest shot. And the rest of the game, he only has 2 turnovers. He has 3 assists, but he probably should have had 6 if guys had knocked down some shots. I thought he played with just great poise and great tempo. It's a 3-point game. They're making their run, and Tahad comes down. He drives, plays off 2 feet, uses a shot fake, and gets an and 1. Tahad in the past may have driven all the way downhill, played off 1 foot, slipped and fallen, and then it's a transition opportunity on the other end. He was really under control tonight, which was really important for us. And on the road, that's what we need from him to be able to keep us settled down and settled in and get us into our stuff. So he played great tonight.
Coach, can you talk about the play from Keyshawn Murphy tonight? He talked about how big this game was for him. What did you feel about how he contributed, both like in points and on the glass tonight?
Yeah, he was obviously a big part of this rivalry with Mississippi State, and he's still, I think he still recognizes that, and he got excited about this game, and he just with 14 rebounds, 16 points, like he just played way more physically. He played lower to the ground. He just had a different level of focus, I think, with how intentional he was with being a presence on the inside. It helps when you make 6 out of 7 free throws. That helps. But he did a great job of playing off too. He used shot fakes. He didn't turn the ball over, and he did a great job of just finishing possessions with the rebound. He's obviously starting to get healthier, and you've kind of seen that over the last probably 4 games of just what that looks like when he is healthy. So he played phenomenal. It's been really good that our 5 men have been stepping up in back-to-back games. Philip obviously had a great game. Last game had some great minutes tonight, but Murph was obviously really impactful and played great.
Yeah, Sway playing the most minutes of anybody out there, hitting some big shots and making some big defensive plays. I mean, just what does it say about him as a freshman coming in here and helping you get a road win like that?
Yeah, I mean, he, defensively, I thought he was really good. Did a good job moving his feet. Wish he would have gotten a few more rebounds, but that's probably because he's actually checking out like 2 or 3 people every single possession. We're up 1 at halftime, and we call his number the first 2 or 3 plays, and he did a great job, operating out of that ball screen and just, playing under control and making the easy pass, or he did a great job of scoring through his chest on the first play. So, he doesn't play like a freshman, he doesn't look like a freshman, and he's plus 10 tonight. So, does a lot of really good things for us. So, happy with his contributions. Did you want to jump one in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Coach, that's 10 in a row for the program against Ole Miss. Is there something about this game on the calendar and playing each other 2 times a year?
Yeah, it's still a rivalry, and our guys, they get here and the student section is full, and it should be because this is a really good basketball team, and so our guys were obviously a little, they were amped up for it, they were excited about it. And they have respect for Ole Miss. That's important. They watched Dia and Cameron and AJ Storr, and they're like, shit, they're really talented. So our guys did a good job against Arkansas too because they really respected Arkansas's personnel. And I think there's some of that with Ole Miss as well with our guys. They recognize how talented they are, how many good players they are. They've won 3 straight, 2 of those being on the road. So they had our full attention. Because we knew that we had to have some special tonight to be able to come in here and get a win against a good team. All right, thanks, guys.